I would like to focus on a positive narrative. But before sharing the positive narrative I see for this project, despite the topic is civic space sounds negative, challenging, I want to share frustration. So, and I have to apologize to the audience. So we are sitting here on a Friday afternoon, we are thinking about the family obligations we all have tomorrow on our free day. 50% of your family statistically is made of women. And you have to listen to a panel, and I'm very happy that Tara G is here to represent the other 50% of the society. Yeah. Yeah. And the frustration is because any contract we sign, we share our expectation that we want all panels to be inclusive, have 50% gender representation, and of all the more than 80 projects the European Union has in Nepal, I would have expected this project to get it right. So you see, I'm saying this with a smile, but I'm looking forward already to the first progress report where you have to explain. But from the next meeting on, I know it's difficult. I know it's difficult, some people jump out, but then let's agree to keep it informal, because now the male population tries to explain to the audience what the 100% should think. So I'm sorry about that, but I have to say it, and I will continue saying it. So I take off the hand of my shoulder. Now I can start my official speech. But I know many of you, and the ones who know me know I say it, and this comes from the bottom of our heart, from our entire team. It was mentioned that Heather and Rosalba put a lot of effort in this. And when I think back, I think the first discussions came a year ago. All of us have worked together to get this project on the ground. And for us, it's really not about AIN plus NFN plus whatever. It is about the partnership. And part of the partnership is the media, it's academia, the private sector, the social partners. And I think that's what we discussed a year ago. It's about the O in the NGO. It's about civil society at large. But in this engagement, when we talk about civic space, the partners are the government. The partner are the parliament, the government at the 3 tiers, municipalities. So this is the positive narrative I want to give on a very difficult topic about the partnership we would expect this project to deliver. It's not about you people, our people, them, us. It's about what can be achieved. And I think the first draft of this project idea was very standard. And we said, we are taking a lot of risk doing this project. As Tara G said, it's expectations. And I said, let's take the risk to do something which is normally not addressed. If we work on sectors, if we work on some approaches, this project is really to bring all the partners together in a partnership. This means that sometimes we have to look into the low-hanging fruits. And we have seen some very positive developments. The consultation of the government on the 16th National Development Plan. We know civil society was consulted. And I don't distinguish whether this was the International Federation, the Nepali. Civil society is civil society. This happened. Was it perfect? Maybe not. This project can then look into the mechanism. How can it be improved? Improved in a way that all partners are comfortable with it. Because we have to understand that we expect a lot also from our partners in the government if we want them to open. Yes, the Constitution says there is the need for the accountability, there is the need for an inclusive partnership, and I think very often, and we have an excellent Constitution, it's about the mechanisms that have to be established. And the mechanisms cannot be confrontational. Mechanisms need to be established in a partnership so that all the elements in this partnership are comfortable with it. And very often when I read the news, it's focusing on negative stories. Yes, it's the role. It's also when I hear, I know I disagree with Rosalba. When we talk about watchdog, for me watchdog also could assume somebody waits for somebody to make mistakes. For me, it's about the efficient partnership, effective partnership, to help the partner to avoid mistakes. So this is what also this project can work on. Again, looking into the different mechanisms. One thing is, yes, we want to consult. The other way is, how do we do it? How do we do it to make it comfortable for civil society at federal level? We know there's some remote communities, they cannot participate in online consultations because simply they don't have electricity. And this is then for the different civil society representatives to find the right mechanism for these remote communities to be involved, to have their voices heard, to have the dialogue, so that whoever is there, whether it's in the federal parliament, whether it is in the federal government, that everybody is comfortable with it. Also with the aim to fulfill the constitution. It's there. And also that means we need to create a space where nobody's shying from making mistakes. Mistakes will happen in this project. And that's what we know. But I think this is what this project is about. It's not about sending a final report, everything was perfect, but helping all the partners in the partnership to approach, to revise, to try something new, to look into the innovation, how civil society is involved. How can civil society provide a service to the government? So this is a model we know from many countries, not the justice committees, but legal clinics, legal advice, where the municipalities don't have the in-house knowledge and they are outsourcing with their funding to civil society to provide a service to the government and ultimately to the people living here in Nepal. Because it's not only about the Nepali citizens, I'm a foreigner, and when the police stops me, it's a service of the government to me, although I'm not a citizen. So let's think in terms of everybody who is in Nepal, and also the Nepali citizens who are not in Nepal, because this is also part of the partnership that has to be there. So we need to have this really constructive engagement at all levels, with a risk to fail. So we need to find out how we can have the activities in a way that new models can be tested, can be revised, that we have this loop, but that we never forget the very intense discussions a year ago where we all agreed we want to come out of this partnership stronger, very ambitious, with the aim to have changed something. So if there's a risk that we get stuck in small-scale discussions, please remember that we wanted to do something different. And I think this is where everybody, you are representing a lot of communities, that this is the message you pass to them, so that we can really focus on the partnership element and the constructive engagement. Lastly, communication. So it will be very difficult to explain why we explain to you. Next time will be better, but this is again the positive narrative. We have seen a lot of positive developments with the municipalities, where the civic space, which overall is shrinking, we have good examples that should be presented. For which reason? To create peer pressure, maybe, but also to have some positive news to show what is possible if there is a good partnership between civil society, and if this is at the local level an example, if it's an example from the provincial level, from the federal level, to show these positive examples that have happened for the people who are less interested to also understand why this civil society partnership with the different actors that represent civil society, but also with the government, parliament at different levels, what is in for the people living in Nepal if this partnership is strengthened. And I think this is where I call on you to maybe come up with some good examples that we can start with a positive story and not focusing on what goes wrong. We all know what goes wrong. Let's start with putting up front what has been positive, how you want to communicate it, so that we can then say, you can turn any challenge into an opportunity. So, and I think this is what we should be doing together. That's why I thank you for being here, for being part of this project. Yes, we work with the umbrella organization, but this project will only be as good as the communities you engage with at the local level that can benefit from the government services at the different levels and from the rights that the Constitution provides to them and to anybody else living in this beautiful country.